Hi everyone. I don't know if anyone's there. I don't know how this works. Completely new to me. I'm really hoping you can hear me because I can't actually read the comments. I don't know how to do all that. Multitasking, not a strong point. Is it working? Comments. Let's see. I don't know. We'll go with it. Hope for the best. Yeah. I'm so nervous. I've got all these zillions and zillions of mini butterflies fluttering about in my tummy. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Not that I took the deep breaths while talking all at the same time. First time for everything. I'll wait a couple of minutes and then, we'll hopefully start. I'm trying to sort of get my iPad up and running to see if I can read the comments. Of course, if I press something by mistake along the way, I know I'm going to get disconnected, in which case we'll start again. All good fun. This is how everything keeps me entertained for so long. Seriously, it's such a laugh. I mean, thankfully, the kids are both upstairs doing their online session. If they were here, they would just be basically just cracking up on the floor, having a good laugh. Basically what I thought today is, I would do something quick rather than something that may take me hours to do because, I wasn't sure what's going to happen in a bit. We'll find out. So I'm doing a parchlet and I'm hoping to color not some, I'm just going to color basically one gem rather than, lots of gems. I don't know if you can see, if I just move them kind of around a little bit, so you can have a good look at those. Like I said, I'm only doing one. I think that will take us into about half an hour, 45 minutes. Of course, if I start talking and I don't stop, we could be a little bit longer. I didn't actually put materials and stuff up. The only reason is I thought, it would be quite nice for everyone just to get a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, fizzy drink, whatever your preference of drink is. Get some chocolate, get some cake, sit down, chill for a while, and just watch. Just take that time out in your day to just sit and do nothing other than watch. I'm hoping once I end this, it will have recorded, because if it hasn't, that's going to be a bit of a boo-boo, really. And not much I can do about it, really, at that point. But let's see what happens. Fingers crossed. And just sit and watch and enjoy. And yes, please pray nothing goes wrong and I don't press the wrong button. Okay, shall we start? So, for those who don't know me, my name's Tina. I've been doing parchment craft for, since 1995, really. So, quite a long time. I became a tutor, Pergamano tutor, in 97. I started parchment basically because within 2 months of getting married, I got bored. I needed to look for something else to keep me entertained with, and that's where parchment came into it. And then I joined Barbara and Clarity team in 2016, I think it was. And it's been the best decision ever for me because, oh my gosh, the friendships I've made through that, and, everyone's just become family for me. It's just been absolutely wonderful. Yeah, so I've done a few designs here and a few designs there for Barbara and Clarity team. I've done a few shows here and there for Hochanda. Before that, I did shows for Create and Craft, but that was more traditional parchment. Yeah, I mean, I could go on forever, but I think I'll stop there. Let's do this. So for those who have not heard of a parchlet before, I came up with the idea that, I wanted to do, I wanted to do little pieces of art because, well, they're quick to do, aren't they? And I was very short on time. I look after my mom, I look after the family, and yeah. So a parchlet is basically the size of what in the art world they call a twinchy. It's a 2-inch square. And so this here is approximately 2 inches square, a bit bigger, a bit smaller. It's really fine. It's not the end of the world, to be honest. But I aim for about 2 inches square in size. I always trim it a little bit bigger because I just feel it frames the whole project nicer. Of course, you could always peek or cut around the edge if you wanted to. But basically, your parchlet is a 2-inch square of parchment paper. You can do anything on your parchment paper. You can stamp on it. You can do traditional parchment work. You can die cut a flower or a paper punch, a butterfly, and stick it in the middle if that's what you want. And, that's fine. It's just a little miniature piece of artwork. Oopsie daisy. Just about to make everything go flying off the table, which would be a bad idea because I've spent ages sharpening my color pencils. So I don't want to do that. What was I saying? I've forgotten. Never mind. Try and remember. Never mind. It can be anything in the middle. So here are a few examples. I'm only basically showing you. Let me show you the ones with the gems first. And I'm hoping I'm sort of in the middle-ish because I cannot see. I do have my iPad up and running, but actually it's lagging really far behind. So here we go. So I'm just going to flick through them. And all the center bits in here are basically 2-inch squares. Well, approximately 2-inch squares, a few millimeters here, a few millimeters there. Doesn't matter. Life is too short to be worrying about all that stuff. No, crooked this way. Oh, I like the purple one. And then we've got this one. I've gone off probably the middle. There you go. The hardest part for me is trying to figure out where my middle is. And I should probably put a cross somewhere. Another green one. This is my favorite, only because it's pink, and I love pink. Mind you, I love purple. And did I say I'm really into blue? I love blue. As for black and white, oh my gosh, I love black and white too. So there you go. And then this one. Some gems are big, some gems are small. Here we go. This one actually I'm going to blog the step-by-steps for, so look out for that for later today. And I'll put it as a link later because, to be honest, I can never remember the name of my own blog. So it's just easier to type it out, copy-paste kind of thing. I love copy-paste. So that one. And then this one here. This is using the henna plates. And one more, this one here. This one I had done at a workshop. And you can see they don't just need to be round, they can be oval shaped gems as well. Any shape is fine. So there we go. And how many of us have been doing parchment for a while, and we have all these sheets of parchment paper, little bits and pieces left over. Here's a few more that I've done just to play, practice. Well, just play with colors really. And one more. There you go. This one. Yes. And you can see some have cracks on them, some don't. So it's personal preference as to whether you like the cracks or not. And you can put them in. Okay. Let me put all that out of the way and get myself sorted a little bit. So we all have these sheets of paper left over that, you know, the trimmings and all that kind of stuff. So it's such a nice way to use some of that. Let's move it out of the way and find one. See, that fits perfectly on there. And use some of that. And actually, while I'm at it, I'm going to bring, and I'm not sure how I'm going to bring these in, but there you go. These are some of the parchlets. And I'm not going to actually flick, but look at all this. I mean, that might be too close, but loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of parchlets there. And that's using up all those little pieces of paper. There's loads there. On my own personal page, I've got an album called Parchlet. So if anyone's interested, you can always go and look on my personal page for the album in the photos and go through them if you want. And so what I'm going to do is, I have got, let me go start. This platemate is from the starter kit. Yeah. And then we've got the inset plate for the baby plates. Fumbly fiddly. So the inset plate that fits into the platemate. These two come in your deluxe starter kit. And they come with 3 other plates, nested squares, A5. They come with, I should know this because I did a workshop just on Saturday, so really it should be at the top of my head, but it's not. Mountains and hills, that's it. 2 mountains and hills and trees. Along with instructions to make 2 cards. It comes with a tumble dryer sheet. It comes with the embossing mat. It comes with the tools, embossing tools. And have I missed anything? Probably. Have a look on the Claritystamp website. It's there. Barbara and Paul are starting a Groovi shack sort of thing. She does a shack on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in the morning. They're starting one for Groovi on a Tuesday morning, and they have got a special offer for the starter deluxe set. Have a look at it and join in because it starts right from the beginning. A great place to hang out, and it's going to be great for, you know, everyone who wants to learn. If you're just starting off, it's, you know, amazing place to start. It will be. So the baby plates, this is an A6 square baby plate, and it sits into the inset plate. And I'm going to bring my little bitty bit of scrap piece of, now how tight am I? Very. So I'm going to use just half of it and keep the half for later. And I'm going to stick my parchment down with some Groovi tabs. And I'm going to rub my tumble dryer sheet with, no, I'm not going to rub my tumble dryer sheet with the parchment. I'm going to rub the parchment with the tumble dryer sheet. I'm still so nervous. Please tell me this becomes second nature, you know, in about 10 years' time. That would be so good to know. And then I'm going to take the Pergamano 1.0 1 mm ball tool. I'm going to put my glasses on because I cannot see a single thing. Oh, look, I can see things. I'm using the Pergamano 1. You can use your Groovi tools that come in the starter kit, and you would use the number 1 to do this as well. And I'm pressing down where the groove is and just dragging the tool inside that groove. I'm going to turn my, you need to make sure if you're just starting off doing Groovi that you're on the groove side up. This is your front. You hear that? Yeah. On the other side is completely smooth. So if you try and emboss inside the grooves, nothing's going to happen because your grooves are on this side. The other way of knowing is, oops, my tape came off. The other way of knowing you're on the right side is if Groovi on your plate reads the right way up, then you're on the right side of your plate. I like to turn my work around a lot, so that is what I'm doing. I'm using a Groovi guard to hold my work down for me. But it also helps, I mean, you know, everyone really should have a Groovi guard in their stash. No, don't take it off, girl. Put it back on, put it back on. Yes, Groovi guard. So this is a Groovi guard. And like you saw, I was using it to hold my work down, but also, you know, especially if you've got like clammy hands, it helps, it helps stop the moisture getting on your parchment. Or if you've been eating chocolate, I'm not saying that is what I do, but okay, yeah, everyone knows that is what I do. Stop getting your chocolatey fingers all over your work, because that's not a nice look for something so beautiful we create. Chocolate all over is definitely not a nice look. So I've used number 1. I'm going to go around and put this, the floral design, using the same tool. And I'm not frightened of pressing in there to get the nice crisp lines. It is not going to, you know, if I jump out of the grooves, it's not going to mark the parchment, so it's okay. I am not doing the flower centers because I'm going to use a different tool to do the flower centers with. The only place that it leaves a mark is where there are grooves. So don't be frightened of actually putting pressure on there. So I'm turning my work again. And I'm going to do that fairly quickly. And I mean, if you were doing it sort of, well, you would be doing it at home, wouldn't you, at the moment with everyone being in lockdown? But you would take your time, basically, when you're doing it on your own. Well, you would be doing it on your own as well at the moment with lockdown. I will get my words right one day, maybe, or maybe not. Doesn't matter. I am who I am, right? And once again, I've turned it. And as you can see, I'm leaving the flower centers. The reason I'm leaving the flower centers at the moment is because I want to emboss those with the Pergamano 1.5 mm ball tool. Because I want a softer white outline rather than such a white, strong outline. I want to emboss inside those circles. If you have the Groovi tools, you would use the Groovi number 2 for your soft outlines. So one more side, here we go. And yes, I cannot read the comments, so you know, I will read them later. Like I said, I can't multitask for the life of me. So I will go back and read them. So if you have questions, leave the questions there, and I'll get back to you today or tomorrow to answer those. And there we go. Did I go off the page, off the screen? Not off the page, off the screen. So this is what I have so far. Yeah. Now with the Pergamano 1.5 or your Groovi number 2, we are going to emboss the flower centers. With the Pergamano tools, the size is written on the end of the tool. I'll show you in just a second. And if you have the Groovi tools, there is the embossing tools, that is, there is Groovi number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, 1 being the smallest, 4 being the largest. So for example, this was the, I'll hold both of them together. Let's hold both of them together to show you. So you've got, I used the number 1 and the number 1.5, which is this one. And if I turn them around, there you go, they've got, I don't know if it's in focus or not, but I'm not going to touch anything on my phone in case I press the wrong button, and the numbers are back there. Yep. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to put a circle in the center where we're going to color the gem. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to change my plate, and I've got the details of the plates that I'm using here on the blog. On the blog, when I post it later today, all the materials, plates and everything is listed on there. So have a look later for all the details on the plates and things I'm using. Let me actually show you Groovi right way round. Oh, fiddly, fiddly, fiddly. There you go. So Groovi should read the right way round up for all your plates. Yeah. So I've gone to using this one. Now, if you don't have this plate for your circle, you could use any of the circle plates. We just want a circle, basically, for our gem. I am going to put the circle, well, I'm going to emboss the circle from the front. So when we did this earlier, well, not earlier, just now, when I embossed this, I embossed it on, this is going to be the back of our work. I want to emboss the circle from the front. Now, the reason I'm doing it from the front is because I want to actually emboss it from the front between the two outlines, because it gives the illusion that the gem is popping out of the parchment. It just works, it works really well. So I'm rubbing it with a tumble dry sheet on the front, and I'm going to emboss that circle. Now, usually what we would do is whenever we emboss on the front, we use a piece of clear plastic. Oopsie daisy, break the set. We use a bit of clear plastic over the top before we emboss. The reason we do this is because this piece of plastic will stop a shine on the parchment, because if we emboss just along there, it leaves a shine. So, you know, which really, if you want a matte look, it's not a good thing. So use a piece of plastic to stop the shine if you're doing it, well, when you do it on, when you emboss on the front. I'm not going to use the clear plastic because I know I am going to put glitter powder over the top of this. So I'm just going to go ahead and emboss the circle. I'm skipping where the leaf is. Emboss, skip. That goes all the way up to there. I don't want to cross into the previously embossed lines, because this then looks like the circles are going to be behind the floral design. So I'm not crossing into any of the previous embossed lines. And I've used the 1.5 Pergamano tool to do this because I want to emboss between those lines. So I want a soft white outline. If you were using the Groovi, you would use the number 2 tool. So for the moment, I'm just going to use those circles from that plate to, yeah, that's all I'm going to do on that one. I'm going to move the plates out of the way. I'm wondering where should I put them, that in case I need them, I can easily reach them. Let me put them there. And I'm ready to emboss. Oopsie daisy. Just give me a second while I pick up all the pieces of, well, the mounting pieces of paper I've dropped, because I'm going to need that. Nah, actually I'll do it later. Forget it. I'll do it later in a minute when we need those pieces. Okay, let's bring that back in. So I'm ready to emboss parts of this design. I'm going to emboss the circles, and I'm going to emboss between these two outlines here. And is that it? Yeah, that's all I'm going to emboss. Now between these two outlines, I'm going to emboss from the front, and these little circles, the flower centers, I'm going to emboss from the back. Let's start with the ones on the back. I have changed, no, I haven't changed. I have put a Pergamano embossing mat down because I really like this mat. Your starter kit comes with a mat as well. It's a little bit softer. If you're just starting off, go really gentle. Go really gentle with your embossing if you're using the Groovi mat, because it is very soft. Over time, if you find, you are quite heavy-handed, you may want to invest in this Pergamano one. It's really, I couldn't do without it. I use both my embossing mats in very different ways. With certain things, I prefer using my Groovi one. And for other things, I like the Pergamano one. When I'm doing circles, especially, I like the Pergamano one. Sorry. Okay, when we emboss circles, actually, let me show you on the side here with a slightly larger circle. So if we have a circle like that, I don't know if you can see that. Yes? I think our tendency, as soon as we start embossing, is we want to, when we see a circle, this is what we want to do, to emboss it. But we don't want to do that, because what this does is it leaves sort of a black hole in the middle. I don't know if you can see this, if the camera can pick it up. I'm not sure. There you go. Is that better? And you can see the embossed circle has left a black hole in the middle. A better way to emboss your circles is to go up and down, across, and then do a circle. Now, that was quite a large circle, so I have gone to my 3mm ball tool, the Pergamano one. If you have the Groovi one, you could go with either the number 3 or the number 4, depending on the size of the circle you're embossing. Now, for me personally, I'm quite heavy-handed towards my right. So whenever I do circles, I always, after I've done all the way around all the circles one way, I turn it 180 degrees and I repeat, just to sort of even it out. But that is me personally. It's something, you would play with and see what works for you. And then you can finish it off like in a circle-y kind of thing. The other important thing is, between your embossing layers, let your parchment rest. By letting them rest, you're giving the parchment the opportunity to actually ping back to its naturally kind of state, the fibers. I don't know how to explain it use nice words to explain it, but for me, ping back to their natural state kind of works. The main thing is let your parchment rest in between layers. So, and the bigger the element, the more you let it rest. With certain projects, you'll need to let it rest over a day. Then go back, put another layer on, and just play with it and see what happens. So I'm going up and down, across and round, up and down, across and round. When I first started it, I'm sure, I used to say this even in my sleep. and round, up and down, across, round, up and down, across, round. Oh, that came out a bit squeaky. Across. And one more. Now, like I said, for me personally, I turn the whole thing 180 degrees and repeat the circles. And if I was doing this like sort of in my own time, I would finish all the embossing on all my work and then put a second layer because it will have rested for a while before I put that. However, for this one, I'm going to turn it around now and put my second embossing layer on it. But when you're doing it later, if you're going to repeat this, then, you know, let it rest longer. Don't do what I'm doing. And also by letting it rest, you know, the longer you let it rest, your white work becomes whiter without having to, you know, press very hard with your embossing tools. The parchment doesn't really like too much pressure. You have to do each layer really softly, really gently. And with each layer, you're keeping the pressure the same. You're not putting any extra pressure on your embossing. You're keeping it the same. But just letting it rest, sort of, you know, it's just magic. Well, I like to think it's magic anyway. So that was on the back, the little circles. I'm going to turn it to the front and I'm going to emboss between the two circles from the front. Once again, you know, if you didn't want a shine on your parchment, you would put the clear plastic and then emboss. But because I'm going to put glitter over it, I'm not going to put the clear plastic over it. I'm just going to emboss it. And I'm using the number 3 between there, number 3, Pergamano 3mm ball tool. If you were using your Groovi ones, use the number 3 or 4, whichever you're more comfortable with. I'm not going to make it very, very white at the moment because this definitely needs about, you know, 2 layers, 3 layers to make it really, you know, for us to really push this area down into the paper. And I don't want the parchment to crack. If we put too much pressure all at once, the parchment can buckle or it can even crack. Not a good look. So I'm doing it very gently. And I hope I'm making sense. And you can see I'm turning the parchment around as I work. It's really important, you know, you keep turning it so your hand is comfortable at every point. Yeah, that's it. So that's what we have so far. Oh, am I going off? I don't know where the camera is at this point. Please tell me practice makes it better. Okay. I'm ready to color. Now, choices. Do I do the gem first or do I do the flowers first? I think on my blog that I've sort of half written so far, I have done the gem first. It's not going to matter which one I do first. What I'm going to do is actually, let's do the flowers first because that is from the back. So these little flowers, and they're not going to take very long to do. So I'm going to do those first. I'm using the Pergacolors exclusives for this. There we go. They're water-soluble felt pens. I absolutely love these. Really beautiful, vibrant colors and such an awesome selection of colors. There's 30, I think. Do you know, I'm supposed to remember these things and I don't. Yes, 30. So 30 colors in there. I'm going to go with the orange and the green. Have I said I love orange too? And green? I already mentioned purple and blue and pink and black and white combinations, and oh, I like red as well. Basically, I like color. So I'm coloring this on the back. If I go on to the white, it is not going to matter because this is the back of our work. And on the front, the white outlines will still be white. And normally when I'm coloring, I do have my light wave on. I haven't put it on today because it would have just been another thing for me to fiddle with while, you know, I'm trying to focus on just, well, focus on keeping this going without, you know, knocking anything down. By using the light wave, it just helps you go right up to the edge of all your embossed lines. And if you do have a light wave and you haven't used it as yet when you're coloring your work, give it a go. Have a look and see the difference it does actually make by, you know, having it on while coloring. And the leaves, very quickly, green. So for all this, I would have had my light wave on. Am I allowed to go quiet? I don't know. Mind you, I think that may be a case of some of you may prefer me to go completely quiet and some of you may think, you know, keep talking. But then I think sometimes it has to be sensible talk. I mean, with me, I tend to go from sensible to something really, really nonsensical. But yeah, I don't know. Oopsie daisy. There we go. And that's that. Yeah. Okay, what I should have actually done is always remove your embossing mat out of the way, because your pens and pencils don't know whether you've got a pen in your hand or a pencil in your hand. So I should have done that and worked on a hard surface rather than on an embossing mat. I mean, with me, I guess I've done it long enough, so I know I'm not putting any pressure. But if you're just starting off, please remember to not have your embossing mat under your work when you're coloring. Always have a hard surface. That was a boo-boo on my side. And I'm going to actually put color on there. So I'm using my ruler and I'm just going to, between those outlines, hold on, I forgot to mention that these colors have like a thin end and a thick end, which is brilliant because that way you can, you know, do the finest coloring details with this. So I'm going to use the thin end to just add some color between those double outlines. And I'm really sorry if my sleeve on my left hand is getting in the way. I don't have a fix for that. That's going to be a permanent issue forever and ever and ever. So it is what it is. There we go. And one more. Have we passed the half-an-hour mark? Yeah, I'm asking. I mean, obviously on a Facebook Live, I can't hear anyone. And I don't know why I'm asking, because I'm not even reading the comments. But I'm asking anyway. I guess it makes me feel better. I think in my head, I can hear everyone saying, yes, it has. Keep going, keep going. What was I doing? Yeah, so that is on the back. And if I turn that, if I bring it closer, I don't know if it goes out of focus or not, I'm not sure about that. But there you go. And if I turn it to the front, you can see our white outlines are Still very crisp and everything. The coloring on the back may look a bit messy and everything, but on the front, everything is good. And we're okay to continue. Now, for the gem, we are actually going to color the gem on the front and on the back for the depth. So starting on the front, I am using the Pergamano pencils, and they come as A pencils and B pencils. The B pencils are the blendable pencils, and the A pencils are the aqua water-soluble watercolor pencils. So I am using the B pencils. The B pencils you can use with the blending solution, which is the dorso oil, which is what we are going to do in a minute. And yeah, if you don't have the pergoliners, you could use your polychromos to do this as well. It's going to work in exactly the same way. So let's do the gem. So usually, where did I put my gems? When I first teach the gems, I usually tell everyone pick 3 colors. Let's bring the purple one in. Pink one, sorry, that's not purple, is it? It's pink. When was the last time I went to the optician, I asked myself. Pink. I ask everyone to choose 3 colors other than the white. The white is a must. And then 3 colors, a light color, a medium color, and a dark color. If you're first starting off, maybe you want to keep them in the same tones like blues, greens, pinks, whichever, it doesn't matter. As you become more confident, play with the colors. You know, you can choose maybe, you know, a good combination is your yellow, a blue, and then on the edge, either a very dark blue or even, you know, a tiny amount of black as your darkest color. That's a really pretty combination, because what you'll get is when you blend the yellow and the blue, you'll get the green happening in between. So, you know, have a play with your colors and things. And I have done so many gems with different colors. I mean, on this one here, which probably, I don't know, on this one here, can we see that? I don't know, can we see that? Yeah, hold on, not very organized, is she? Can we see better there? Yeah, there you go. On this one here, I have used all sorts of colors. Yes, I've got yellow, I've got green, I've got blue, I've got purple. I think I did the cracks in red over there. So, you know, it's just a case of playing and seeing, yeah, what sort of colors you like. Right. Oh, what did I do with my work? Oh, there you go. It's under all that. So I've sharpened my pencils, and on the front, make sure you're on the front for this. Not that it's going to matter, because we're going to do this on the back as well, but we're going to start with the front. I'm going to pretend my light is coming from this direction, and just between you and me, all my gems have the light coming from this direction, because I would have no clue how to put it from a different direction. But we'll pretend I didn't really just say that. So the light's coming from this direction. And we're going to, on the lower side here, I'm going to do a little jelly bean. Well, it's quite a big jelly bean, but there you go. Very gently. I like jelly beans. They taste so yummy. And color that in. I'm not pressing. If we press, it's going to be really difficult for us to blend the lines out. So I'm doing it really gently. And you can put quite a large area, because we're going to blend some of the lighter color into this white. So the white area is going to get smaller. Yeah, I'll leave it at that and see later whether we want more. There we go. Yes. Then we're going to go with our lightest color. Now I am using a few colors only because, well, I felt like it. yes, I just felt like it. So that's why I'm using a few colors. And I'm going to do around there, around the jelly bean shape. Yes, and this is where I go quiet because you know, I'm trying to think whether I'm forgetting to say something, which you know, that wouldn't surprise me if I'm forgetting to say something. Yes, so all the way around. I don't know if you can see that so far. Yeah. And then with the red, and you will put the color that you want to be the most dominant as the color that is, well, the most on your paper. So if I want my gem to look more red, that's the color I'm going to go ahead with and put more of. But for the moment, I'm sort of, you know, just going sort of equal amounts, only because I want to show all the steps. And yes, once you become more confident with your gems, play around, you know, do patches. They don't need to go in like the bands I am doing. They can go just in patches kind of thing. And then the brown. I've sharpened the pencils, but you know what? I've probably sharpened them a bit too much because now I'm really scared I'm going to break the points. I'm really lazy when it comes to sharpening pencils. I usually work with very blunt pencils because I'm just so lazy. I'm just brushing it off, the bits that have come off, and I'm going to go just around the edge, just darken it all the way along. Well, not all the way along. It's okay to leave, you know, I did up to there. I might leave a bit of a gap and continue there. But you can go all the way along if you want. Sometimes it you know, by leaving those gaps, it just gives it a much more naturally kind of look. And you know, something in my head is telling me I'm forgetting something. So there we go. So we can see the bands. And these are the same colors that I've used to do this here. Yes, it's the same colors to do this here. And this will be on the blog today. So the colors, I have written down the numbers I have used. Okay, next we are ready to blend our work. So we need some dorso oil. We need a spot-on sponge. Look, a new spot-on sponge, completely new, exciting. And we need a blending nib that I was playing with earlier, and I have no idea where I've put them. Oh, found them. So here we go. So I tend to keep, so I've got my blending pen here. I tend to keep my nibs one per color. But if you don't have so many, then, you know, what I would say is keep like your yellows one, your reds one, blues, you know, sort of colors together. There is a way to rub off the extra, you know, if you want to, say, go from blue to green, you can get some oil on your nib and rub off the excess on a piece of paper or on a kitchen towel so the color comes off until it runs clear, your oil runs clear. But like I said, I tend to keep, you know, separate colors for my blending. And you can see here, I've got a whole bunch of them. If you're going to, you know, use the same nib for various colors, then I would say keep one separate for your white. Yes, this white is not very white because I've been using it for the other gems that I've done for the blog. So it's gonna be yellow. I left it for today because I want to show you how to rub, make it clear, well, make sure that there's no color coming off. So I just, only for that reason, I've left it so I can show it to you. So I'm going to get some spot on sponge. Well, not some, one spot on sponge is enough. And I'm going to get some dorso oil and I'm going to put a drop on there. That's, I don't know if that's, well, not that more is coming off there because I think I've run, oopsie daisy, sorry, I knocked the phone. Yeah, I think I've run out of dorso oil at this point. So we're going to start. So this is your blending tool and you're going to take the nib and put that in there. As I mentioned, my white nib is a bit icky. So I'm going to put it on the sponge and I'm going to run it across and make sure it is clear. I can see a bit of yellow. I'm going to just rub it and just make sure I get it all clear. I think that should be fine. Yeah? Okay, we're ready. So, as you know, I have still got enough oil on my blending nib from when I was cleaning it. As a matter of fact, there might be too much oil on it now. We will see as we are blending this. So little round circular motion around there. And you can see the color beginning to go nice and smooth. That is okay actually. It's not too wet. So that's fine. Little round circular movement to make that go smoothie. I love smoothies. Oh my gosh, now I want a smoothie. I'm swapping it for the yellow and I'm going to just literally touch it on the oil and blend. Now if you get too much oil on your nib, what happens is that the color will just basically come off. So if you get too much, you just get your kitchen towel, rub off the excess. Oops, get your kitchen towel, rub off the excess, or on a side of a paper, rub off the excess oil and then blend. Now I have just rubbed it all off, so I'm going to get some more oil and little round movement. I'm going a little bit into the white now because I want to blend that white and blend the yellow. So I'm going from the yellow to the white. I am not touching the red as yet because I don't want my red, I don't want the red coming on my nib. I want to keep, because we're going to blend that when we do the red and yellow blending. So just the yellow and a little bit into the white. Yes, ready to change that nib for the red one. And just a touch there. Oopsie daisy. Life is fun, entertaining. And there we go. So first start with the red and bring these two together. So I'm blending the red and the yellow as I'm doing the red. And again, I'm not going into the brown as yet. Turn it round. And coming around. And because we have debossed this circle from the front, what it's done is it's also created a valley. No, that didn't quite come out right, did it? Valley. That's better. Valley. So we're not getting color inside that, inside the white work. We may get a little bit, but we can always erase that off with a pencil eraser later if we do get color. But we're not going to get much because it's receded into, oh, that was a fancy word for me. Probably completely wrong word to use, but I've used it now, so there you go. So you're not going to get much color. So there you go. That's the red. And then the brown. So I'm changing my nib for the brown. Once again, touching it to the on the oil, and we blend that. And I didn't get enough oil. Just if you don't have enough, if you don't have enough oil, you need to then, like I did, just a little touch, and you'll get some more oil, and you just continue again all the way around, still doing little circular. And where there is very thin areas where we've put just a line sort of thing around here, you're doing smaller circular movement just to blend it. When I do the gems, by the way, I don't use the light box. This is the only time I don't use the light box, when I'm coloring the light wave. So there you go. First layer. So if I bring that closer, there you go. Yes, and that is very light sort of color compared to the card I had shown you with. So this was the card. You can see how vibrant that is. Now, the awesome thing about parchment paper is it's translucent. So we turn it around and we repeat the whole process on the back. This will give it vibrancy as well as depth. So where we had the white area, we're going to gently color it white. I had a jam donut yesterday. Oh, sorry, random conversation about to happen. And I don't think I've had a jam donut in years and years and years. Oh my gosh, I've forgotten how good they taste. It's been so long. Oh no, I don't want brown. Don't put brown quite yet. So, see, my mind is now on donuts. I've gone off gems to donuts. So around the white, who makes donuts? I mean, no, I don't mean like factories and things, but at home. I'd love to know how to make donuts. Actually, no, I don't want to know how to make donuts. You can offer to make them for me. That's fine. Why would I put myself through that? That sounds like too much hard work. My kitchen skills, zilch. When the kids were young and, when they heard the smoke alarm go, they always knew dinner was ready. That's how awesome my kitchen skills are. So I don't think I will have a go at donuts. Especially jam-filled ones. They sound a bit, a bit difficult to do. Mind you, in my case, would I actually put the jam in the donuts? I get the feeling I would probably eat the jam on its own. And then there would be nothing left. Oopsie daisy. There would be nothing left to put inside the donut. Well, unless I buy more jam. That could work, couldn't it? Mind you, it's a conversation that's a bit silly that I'm having at the moment because I'm not going to be making them. Nuh-uh, not going to happen. Not in this lifetime. Not when we have shops that make them for us. So I'm doing, sorry, let me come back to this. I've done exactly the same as I did on the front, so I've done it on the back. And now we're ready to blend this in exactly the same way as we did before. And I've lost my white nib along the way. No, it's there. There we go. Oh, it's the wrong way around. This way. Touch it and we blend. Now this is on the back. So we've done on the front. Now repeat on the back. So that's enough. My Lello. And blend the yellow. Bring it in a little bit into the white. Don't bring it too much into, don't blend the white and the yellow too far in, the yellow too far into the white, because you'll lose the reflection completely. And we want that white showing. So, you know, you're just doing just on the edges, just blending those two on the edges. And then the red. And I didn't get enough oil there. I need to get some more oil. What are the chances I'll remember I need to get some more oil, dorsal oil, by the time I finish this? I should probably write it down while I remember. So I'm going around and blending the red and into a tiny bit of the yellow as I'm going around. It's a bit more blending, just those two colors there. And the brown. So this is quite a teeny tiny piece that we are doing. But, you know, like I said, when you want to do something quick, it's so good to, you know, have a play and make something. Or when you're learning new techniques, again, you know, do something small to just have a practice, have a play, try out the technique. And at the same time, you'll have created a piece of work. So great way to practice various techniques. And let me see if I can you know, let's see how today goes. And if I think it was okay, it was, you know, everyone understood what I was saying kind of thing, maybe we can do it more often and create little parchlets, just so I can show you various techniques, you know, coloring, grid work, embossing, yeah, that sort of thing. I'm going to actually bring in, can we see, there's quite a band between here and there, and I want to blend it a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my yellow and I'm going to color over the red a little bit. And then I'm going to I'm going to just blend it a bit more, because I want to lose that band that had formed there. So it's about going back and forth until you're happy with your colors. And the more color you put on, the greater the depth will be. The main thing to remember is that, you know, between your colors, the layers that you put of color, is let the oil evaporate, dry out completely before you put the next one on. And as well as, you know, make sure you don't get too much oil, because if you get too much oil on your second, third, fourth layer, you're going to take off even the base layer. So you don't want too much oil. And so that was the back. Now if I turn it, you can see that's already darker than it was previously. Well, I hope you can see it was darker than the one previously. However, our work is not done as yet. I'm going to turn it on the back again, and I want to put just the tiniest amount of black around the top edge there and around. But when I do the black, I'm going to break up my line. I'm not going to do one solid all the way around. But you can see, especially on the side of where the reflection is, it's the thinnest line that you can get. You don't want black, when you start blending black, it really travels oh yeah, it travels very far in places you may not want, well, as far in as you may not want it to go. Did that make sense? In my head, that didn't make sense. So black, we're going to blend the black, and you're doing the tiniest little round circular movement. If I do bigger round circular motion, I may bring the black too much into my brown and red, which is, I don't want to do that. I don't want my gem, the colors, the browns and the blacks, to look muddy. I want to keep them, well, clean colors. So I'm just doing the tiniest little circular motion to blend that. It's I mean, I really cannot stress, you know, for this particular gem especially, not to put too much black down. You want just the tiniest amount. Have I said it enough for everyone to get the message? And I will turn it to the front and show you what that looks like. And there you go. By putting that black all, well, not all the way around, but putting it around, you can see it's just made a difference. Now, once again, if I bring this card, you can see, oh, that doesn't show very well. There you go. Let me bring the backing paper that I've dropped. Hold on a minute. I will be back. If you hear my voice disappearing far away, it's because I am heading towards picking up my backing papers I have dropped. There, I'm back. So, on the backing paper that I'm going to use, that's what it looks like. And this here looks like this. So this one has more of a yellowy feel. This one has more red on it because I used more red. Now for me, I still want more depth on this. At this point, you're going to look at your gem and decide, do you need more color on it? For me personally, I want more color on it. So guess what I'm going to do? I am going to put yet another layer on the front this time. So back with the white. Yeah, back with the white. And hold on, I've got a lot of powder on there. Brush that off. And back with the yellow. And you know, at this point, if I think, okay, I don't like that the red, so red, well, the gem to be so red, I can take this yellow to the top into the red, and it will give it a more sort of yellowy look kind of thing. You know what I'm trying to say. Well, I hope you do. If not, message me and I'll try to explain it again in hopefully a better way. No guarantees though, but I'll try. Some, you know, it was too red. If it was too red, but I'm pretending it was too red. I quite like the red one. What you would do to change the color slightly, if you wanted it more yellow, you would take the yellow higher up into the red, and that will change the color of your gem. So at any point you can do that. So I'm going to blend those colors again. I'm sure it's been more than 45 minutes. I was hoping for half an hour, 45 minutes, but I'm pretty sure it's probably been more than that. So I'm sorry if anyone needed to go. And I got my timings wrong. I always think something will take a shorter time than it actually does usually. And I'm always, taking longer. And you can see, you know, in between I am changing my nibs to blend those. And actually that's become a lot darker and vibrant. And I quite like that. So by putting that third layer on the top, my gem looks even, oops. I'm wondering if there's a better way of not appearing so clumsy when I'm turning things around. And brown, so put brown there. And like I said, you know, on this layer, when you start putting second layers, third layer, there's already some oil on your work, so you really do not need much more oil on your nibs. I'm going to put just again on the front a tiny amount of black, and once again it's going to be broken, just a thin, very, very, very thin. So make sure your black is sharp around in broken sections. And you may be relieved to know this is the last layer I am putting on. Of course, we could continue, put, you know, once more on the back, once more on the front, once more on the back. But no, when do we stop? At some point, we have to call it finished. So, am I staying in the middle of the screen? I mean, not that I'm reading the comments, but later, at least when I read the comments, I know whether I've stayed in the middle of the screen or not for most of the demo sort of thing. But also, you know, if you have any what's the word? Suggestions of improving sort of thing, I would love to know. This is my first. I have to say the butterflies have stopped sort of fluttering about a bit, but that might be because, you know, they're having sugar withdrawal, because I haven't had a single piece of chocolate in all this time. So I think they're probably, you know, completely out of energy at this point. And no caffeine, so definitely out of energy. There you go. So you can see, and if that's on black, and you know, every time you look at your gem, it's going to look very different depending on the backing you put. So for example, if I had another piece of parchment, that's what the colors look like. If I go on black, if I had a black card as my base, this is what the gem would look like. I am going to mount it on this, and you can see that's what that looks like. If I was mounting it straight on the designer paper, look at that, that looks so pretty actually. I don't even need to put cracks, because actually the designer paper, and I don't know if you can see that, look, that's picking up the base, and it looks like I have drawn those cracks in, which I haven't. It's just from the designer paper. This here is the back of, this here is the back of this designer paper. It's the same one, it's just the back of it. But that's really nice because it picks up the cracks there. So, you know, look at different backing papers and see what works best. Now, on this card here, I have not drawn any cracks. But let me show you, if you wanted to put some cracks in your work, then what you would, on your gem, sorry, this is what you would need to do, is first you need a very sharp pencil, get one of your dark colors, and very gently just go, put a few wiggly lines. I don't usually put cracks in my gems, but some people do like to put them, so, you know, but again, you know, have a play, see what works for you and whether you want them or not. Yes, so there we go. And in the center where the cracks are. I mean, if you had a reflection, you wouldn't see the cracks quite like that solid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my white, and I'm not going to put any more oil on that, and I'm just going to sort of just mute just the cracks a little bit. Just mute them. Might need a bit of oil actually, because it's not moving, but I'm just worried I'm going to, yeah, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to smudge it with oil, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just touching as I go along, and I know I've got brown on my nib, so I'm going to take off if I've got extra color, and just to mute it a bit. I mean, it wouldn't have mattered, but this is just me being fussy really. So there we go, some cracks. Now our parchment has rested in all that time, so bringing back, my gem for the moment is done. We have got a highlight to put on there, which we will do in a bit, but first I'm going to bring this in, and I'm going to go back to my embossing mat. I've put it on the embossing mat, and I'm going to emboss. This time I'm using the 1.5 Pergamano. If you were using your Groovi, use the number 2 or the number 3. And I'm going to push the parchment down. Once again, deboss. So this is on the front. So it gives the illusion the gem is on top of the parchment. It's gone really cloudy outside. We still have snow on the ground, and it's so pretty in the morning when the sun was shining. It looked all so sparkly. I love that. I love snow as long as I don't need to go out in it. Well, drive in it. Actually, no, I don't want to walk in it either. No, I don't want to go out when there's snow. So I'm just going to go around and just make it, well, just push the parchment down further. And once again, I didn't use the clear plastic because I know I'm going to put glitter powder in this section. So I'm not going to worry about the parchment being shiny because it's not going to show. Now, if I was doing it on my own, I would let that rest once more and maybe go very gently a third time around that circle to make it go even further down. But I'm not going to do that right now. And, I'm going to call it done sort of thing. The one last thing left for me to do is just put some glitter powder. And I'm going to use some, so I've got a pot of, I don't know if you can see that. My camera is probably too close to my working space. So I'm using Perga glitters. I've got sticky ink and a mapping pen. Yes. So let's open the sticky ink and hope I don't spill it all over my work. So I'm going to push my chair slightly further away from me in case this bottle goes flying and I get it everywhere. And there we go. And I'm going to put that back in my little pot here. Now, I don't know how many of you have used the sticky ink and mapping pen. So your mapping pen usually comes like this with it inside, this way in, So you take the nib out, turn it round and push it in. Yeah. And I'm going to dip it, and actually I'm going to move it slightly out of the way, dip it in, and you really don't need a lot on your nib. About that much is enough. And I'm going to just go in there and I'm going to just fill in the space. And you'll see it beginning to go clear just now. Well, I hope you will, because I didn't look to see if that is sticky ink. Yes, it is. Instead of the white ink bottle. That would be really funny if it was the white ink bottle, wouldn't it? And make sure you don't put your hand over the ink, over the sticky ink, because I mean, other than having your hand becoming sticky, and you may get it on your work in other places, and that ink will transfer, the glue will transfer. So when you put glitter, it will get stuck in those spaces, which is fine, because I mean, we can never have enough glitter, right? What would life be without glitter? Oopsie daisy. Did I do that bit? And you can have a look, you know, turn the parchment and see where it's really shiny, glossy, just to see if you've covered all the areas. And I had missed this section and this section here for my circle. And I am going to do my flower centers as well. I'm turning it around and just doing these flower centers very quickly. And there we go. Now, to clean your pen, you can either wash it under the tap with water, and then let that nib dry out completely before you put it back in the holder, otherwise it will rust. Well, I'm a very lazy soul, so I use a baby wipe, and yes, I shouldn't use a baby wipe, but I do. Or the other thing I do is, if I've had this much left on it, once it goes clear, it's always going to be tacky. It's not going. I can't say dry because it's not dry. It's tacky, sticky. Once it goes clear, next day I'll just pull the bits off, which is really satisfying. A bit like getting PVA glue on your hand and we peel it off kind of thing. I just rub it off that way, but more often than not I tend to just wipe it with with a baby wipe. So I'm going to put it on here, and can you see on white that really the white line work, it doesn't do it justice. I rarely use white as a backing paper because you lose all the all the line art. So the Perga glitter has 3 pots: hint of gold, hint of silver, hint of bronze, hint of blue, hint of green, and hint of pink. I'm using the hint of bronze because we have sort of a very red brown sort of gem, so I think the bronze will work well. The gold would have probably worked as well, but I went with oopsie daisy, sorry, hit the phone again, and just tap off the X. Oopsie daisy, hit the phone again. So, and then now this glitter powder is anti-static, which is brilliant. And I'm going to put the rest back in the jar. No, actually I am not going to do that. You would do that once you're finished with your glitter. I'm going to do that later because, yeah, that needs a bit of concentration on my part. So I'll do that later. What I'm going to next do is I am going to cut my card to size. Now this may not cut straight. I usually use a ruler and a craft knife, but I'm taking a shortcut here in the hope it's going to stay straight. Oops, please stay straight. I love you, Parchlet. Of course it does line it up and move my sleeve out of the way. Don't want to make a hole in there. And this, so I'm cutting it slightly larger. You can picot cut yours, you know, use your 2-needle tool and picot cut around, just for quick wrong pronunciation again, just for speed. That's easier to say, speed. I'm using the guillotine, is it? No, it's not guillotine. The something. Can't remember the word. Doesn't matter. Not important. And I'm trying to find my brads, which I have no idea where I put. Sorry about the noise while I look for a packet of brads. So I'm going to mount the work with Pergamano brads. So I'm just going to take 4 out of there. There we go, 4 out of there. And get this, get something to make holes on. Sorry, I'm gone again, aren't I? Wasn't very organized there, was I? Forgot to put the mat out. So I'm going to mount this on here, and I still have the highlight to put on here. So I'm going to put the highlight at the very end. You could put it once you finished coloring your gem. It's just I prefer to do it at the end, only because sometimes if you're moving your parchment around and depending on the surface, it can scratch the gel pen, because the gel pen doesn't get absorbed into the parchment. It's sitting at the top. So I find, you know, sometimes it scratches off. So turn around, push it down. I'll press them better once I've put them all in. And that's where I'm deciding to put my brads. You can put them wherever you want. You could have, instead of doing the flower centers, you know, emboss and color, you could have used brads for your flower centers. And this could have, you could have mounted. It's crooked, isn't it? Yes, it is crooked, but that's okay. The other thing, you know, you could do is, you know, we all do pieces of parchment or any work that sort of goes wrong along the way. And I know when I first started, I had the tendency of, first to be really disappointed. And then second, I would throw the piece away and start again. But now I really say, you know, there's always something on the work you have started that, you know, has worked out. Cut that piece out, cut it into a 2-inch square around, and, you know, mount it on your designer papers, on your backing cards, and turn it into something. I went through so many of my cards that I'd kept over time, you know, once I stopped throwing them, and I chopped them all up. The ones that I thought had gone wrong, I chopped them all up and I put them in a journal. And at one of the Pergamano exhibitions, I took the journal with me and I got the exhibitors to sign in my journal. And now when I look back at that journal, it looks really pretty. Well, I like it anyway. To me, it looks really pretty. And it's such a lovely memory. So for something that at the time I thought I had ruined completely, you know, a little bit down the road, and you look back and you've chopped it up and all that, stuck it in a journal, you've made something out of it. So I've just used a glue tape pen, is that what it's called? You could use double-sided tape on the back of that and mount it on. So there you go. I've created various layers. So I've got the designer paper, the back of it, white card on the front side of the designer paper, and some black card onto a 4-inch square folded white card. And now my last bit is the gel pen. So let's get the gel pen working a bit. So I'm using the Pergamano gel pen. And by now the water will have evaporated. Start again. By now the oil will have evaporated. And I am going to put highlights. So this is the Pergamano gel pen, which is really fine. There we go. And just color that in. And actually it's the highlight that almost makes it look, makes the gem look shiny. It's like, you know, it does the magic for us. I can leave it like that. Do I want a bit more? Let's put a bit more. Why not? And follow the curve of the circle as you're doing this. Don't do straight, you know, follow the curve. Why not have a few more? Because I quite like these dots. You don't have to put this many. It's just that, yeah, I have in my head the button that usually tells you stop now missing in my head. It's missing. So I just put as much as I want, really. And there you go. There's the highlights. Yeah, so that is that card done. And yeah, so there you go. So what am I going to blog? I'm going to blog this one, the step-by-step to this one. Yeah, which is the whole card. And in this one, so the flower center was what we did on the Parchlet there. And then the corner was on that plate I put somewhere safe. Let me grab it. It was this corner here. Now let me explain this corner here. So I did this corner there. And then I did the opposite diagonal corner there. And then where these two, there was a gap there. So I used part of this, lined it up, this corner bit here, lined it up along there and embossed there. All the pictures will be in the step-by-step. So, you know, I'm hoping it will make sense when you see the photographs. Words, not a strong point. So yeah, that will be on the blog later today. I am hoping when I end this video, it will have downloaded. I'm really, really, really hoping. And that it's not, oh yeah, it's not going to have disappeared in a cyber world kind of thing. Now, I do workshops. This is advertising at this point now. I've got February workshops coming up. So if anyone is interested, oh, look, pretty glitter. Look, it's so pretty. Sorry, I got distracted, didn't I? I've got workshops coming up in February online via Zoom. And let me just show you quickly what we are doing. We're doing this card for the February workshop, which is on the 20th of February. And it's a 3D flower. And we are learning various techniques of embossing, basic grid work, using the pens, using the felt pens. But for that workshop, I'm also providing you with instructions for this larger piece. So just the instructions for this. Yeah, it's too big, to be honest, to do a workshop. This purple one took me about 4.5 hours to do. So I thought it would have been better to do a smaller version, learn all the techniques involved, and then you will have the instructions to do this in your own time if you decide. So that one is on the 20th of February. On the 27th of February, for those of you who love stitching or want to learn stitching using the embroidery plates, this is what I have for the 27th of February. Yes, and we're using various other plates alongside. For those of you who know me, know that I tend to pick elements from this plate and a bit from that plate, and I mix and match a lot of things. I rarely use a whole plate as the whole plate. So yeah, we're going to be mixing a whole bunch of plates. I think there's 3 or 4 plates on this one. And that one was on 27th. So if you're interested, then email me. I will put the email I'll put the email address on the blog. So you can just send me an email if anyone is interested. So here we go. Loads of gems, 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 gems. Loads and loads of gems. From teeny tiny ones as well. But you can see how tiny this is, but you can still see the cracks on there. Yeah, I put cracks on that one. The main thing is to have a very sharp pencil if you're going to put cracks on your gems. And this one, and then this one, and then these play practice ones just for, well, color practice really. And there is one more somewhere lurking around. Can't find it, but there you go. Yes, lots of gems. I'm really looking forward to seeing your gems, your little parchlets. And yes, if you enjoyed this, let me know, because then I can see if, no, let's not have a blank black. Let's put something in the middle before I, finish here, because we don't want to finish with a black, just a black screen. That wouldn't look nice, would it? Let's have that there. Don't know if it's in the middle, but let's have that there. Yeah, let me know, and then maybe I can schedule sort of, maybe once a week, once in 2 weeks, to do little parchlets, and yeah, it would be nice just to practice various techniques. So rather than a large card, a little 2" by 2" piece of artwork. How do I end this? Do I just end it? Do I just say bye? Awkward moment. Yes, I think we will say, well, I will say goodbye at this point. It was a pleasure having all of you join me. I don't know how many joined me, but it was a pleasure. And yes, I will speak to you soon, or see you soon, chat to you soon. Take care, everyone. Huge hugs. Bye.